Now let's take a look at a couple of operators that have to do with considerations for the shape of a document. By that I mean, I mentioned in another lesson that MongoDB, because of its flexible data model, supports operators that allow us to detect the presence or absence of a given field. This flexibility in terms of data models also extends to the data type of a field value, because it is possible, although not usually a good idea, to have the same field in a collection have a different type of value from one document to another. So the operators we're going to look at are $exists and $type. $exists allows us to match documents for which a given field either exists or doesn't exist, depending on what we set the value of the operator to. So let's take a look at an example. Now, within our movies collection, we have quite a few old movies. And many of these movies predate Rotten Tomatoes, certainly, and ratings really of any kind. So what we might want to do within an application is test for the existence of review data. And here we're going to do that by testing to see whether or not there actually is a tomato.meter field. The Metacritic field is another field within this collection that we might also want to test for because it also provides ratings information. Those being ratings related to movie critics as opposed to reviews of general viewers who've taken time to comment. Whoops, I have a typo in my collection name. I actually want movie details. Let's clean that up a little bit. And we can see that, in fact, yes, this document does contain a tomato.meter field. Let's do the reverse now and set exists to false. Now we can see that movies retrieved in response to this query do not, in fact, contain a tomato field. And for most of them, they won't contain a Metacritic field either. Okay, now let's take a look at the type field. So in an earlier lesson, we were experimenting with a collection that I called Movies Scratch. And looking at, for this summary data, using different types of values for our _ID field. So we looked at using object IDs and also using the IMDb identifier as the _ID. Now what we have in this collection are 8 documents. But in fact, there's really only 4 movies represented here. We've got duplicates because we're using different _IDs, half our object IDs and half our IMDb movie identifiers. So what we might want to do with a collection like this is some sort of data cleaning operation. What we could do is use the type operator. So again, I'm searching for all movies that have an _ID field with a type of string, and sure enough, those are the ones that come back. And if I do a count, we can see that I got all 4 of the movies represented here, where we're using that IMDb identifier as the _ID field. Now what we might do as a subsequent operation is go through and delete all of these documents, leaving in place the ones where _ID is actually an object ID. Now for $type, in the documentation, you can find legal values for identifying every one of the BSON types. Here, we just took a look at string.